Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, you know me. I'm Dr. Keith McNally, the question guy, but this is Coach's Corner, and I'm here with Hazel June. Hazel, you are all the way in the Philippines, and from me, where I am in Virginia in America, you are what? A whole half a day away.
Half a day away.
Half a
Yes,
day
that's
away.
right.
So, that's incredible. We're going to talk about what you do professionally because over the past several years you've transformed your business because you've learned some pain points about specific clients. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So what is it
Yeah,
that you do?
yeah, for sure. So I create online courses, online training courses for clients. So I do have a corporate training background when I was still working in corporate. So I thought when I transitioned to full-time entrepreneurship, I decided to leverage that experience and that background in terms of servicing my clients instead of me learning a totally different skill. So that's what I did. Basically creating online courses for entrepreneurs who would want to monetize their expertise. It could be a service provider who would want to convert their one-on-one services into a one-to-many online program so that they can serve more people and reach more people and also add additional revenue to their business. Or it could be, a regular coach or consultant who just want to scale their business because one-on-one services or a group coaching program may not necessarily be the best way to scale because you're limited. Your time is limited as a coach or as a consultant working directly with clients.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's what I do for clients.
So how did you recognize that this was a real pain point for experts who are out there trying to scale? So where did those conversations start?
Yeah, it's funny because when I started, I discovered freelancing online entrepreneurship way back in 2017. And when I was just starting out, everybody was doing Facebook ads. That was like the thing back then. And so that's where I started. I also do Facebook ads, but then the first client that I got, she was pulled into a different direction. So we had to pause our project. And that's when I realized, why don't I just, because I don't know anything about Facebook ads at that point, and I felt uncomfortable, delivering a service that I knew nothing about.
Mm.
And so I thought instead of me, spending a lot of time learning about Facebook ads or any other different skill for that matter, I decided to just look at look at online courses because when I also started, all of these gurus, they were all talking about um, digital products, and one of which back then it was all about ebooks. And the online courses industry were just starting to take off at that time. And so that's when I realized, you know what, I want to create my own online course, but then I don't have any audience. And so instead of me building my own audience and um, create my own course, I said, I'll just be a consultant first. Because even though I have corporate training experience, it is totally different from how it's set up in the online entrepreneurship world. And the lingo is also different. And I realized those because of the conversations that I've had, because I was always in the Facebook groups. I was always like looking at what coaches, because I was targeting coaches at that point. So I was always looking at what they're having conversations about and just helping out and figuring out what they need help with. And bit by bit, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like a one-on-one conversation that I did. It's more of like just observing what the industry was doing at that time. And most of them wanted to create an online course, but they didn't know where or how to get started. Or they think it is a huge project. And it can be a huge project. And so it felt super overwhelming for them.
Mm.
And also the others were just unclear on how to actually do it. And so yeah, that's based on conversations one-on-one with some of the coaches that I've met online, and then also based on the Facebook group conversations that I've observed.
So you mentioned that creating an online course could be a big project. And when people hear big project, the
Mhm.
immediate thought is, oh my God, this is going to be so overwhelming. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So your initial conversations with your clients have to be more of a on an emotional scale, saying that
Mhm.
we can kind of get through this. It's going to be okay. How do you coach those initial conversations to make somebody feel that this is a doable thing?
Yeah, thank you. At that point, I only had, because that was like the first few years, first couple of years of my business. So at that point, I didn't know a lot about online courses and the online industry as a whole. And so I was just like absorbing all of these because I was following a lot of competitors that are like way ahead of me. So I was just listening to what they were saying. I enrolled in an online course about creating courses. And so the things that I'm learning real time, those are also the things that I talked about with my clients. And so at that point, I didn't realize that there's another way of creating an online course without all of the overwhelm. And it was more of like a gradual discovery where I noticed that there is another way to, launch an online course or create an online course without all these fancy funnels and all of these big marketing lingo and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's when I started. And that's what I recommended to my clients because most of the clients that I've worked with in the past, they were just also starting out with their own business. So creating an online course, like a huge signature course, can be super overwhelming for them. And it's not financially wise to do it. And so,
What not wise at the beginning of your talk
yeah,
to what do you mean? Talk to me about that. Why would
yes.
it not be wise to do that as like one of your first stepping stones in your entrepreneurial efforts?
Yep. So this is something that I discovered through the years, not necessarily something that I discussed when I was just starting out. At that point, when I was starting out, people would come to me and ask for, for advice or for help in terms of getting their courses done, and I usually do it for them because I offer done for you services. And so at that point, when I was just starting out, there was no conversation about another way or about being financially smart about creating online courses or launching online courses. So this is something that I discovered a couple of years into my business. And the reason why it's not financially smart is that, at least for the people that for those who are just starting out, is that there's a lot of moving pieces in terms of creating and launching an online course. It can be done, yes, but there's just a lot of moving pieces. And so you need to have your marketing in place. You need to have access to an audience. If you don't have an access to your audience, even if your course is so good, no one knows it. And so you're not gonna make sales, right? And so in terms of access to the audience, most of the starting entrepreneurs don't have that yet.
Okay.
And so that's when I transitioned to, instead of me focusing on those who were just starting out, I started transition focusing on those who already have an established business. Because at that point, not only do they have the financial capacity to actually fund the project, but they also already have at least access to an audience. They already have an asset. They already have a couple of assets that we can repurpose or leverage when it comes to creating and launching their course.
I like that word repurpose. We do hear it a lot in entrepreneurship because it leverages what we already have, and so there's no real secret to that. How do you help people, your clients, repurpose their content so that it becomes a valuable online course? Are there secrets to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of different ways. So if I'm working with, an agency owner or a freelancer, so they already have SOPs in place or documents,
Mhm.
process documents that they use in servicing their clients. And so if they want to create an online course to either generate leads for their higher ticket done for you service, or it's a totally different, like a downsell thing, like a low ticket offer,
Mhm.
then we just repurpose those SOPs or those process documents, the things that they're already doing
Okay.
in their business in terms of serving their clients. So that's one for freelancers or agency owners. If I work with coaches or consultants, same thing. They already have like assets or content that they share with their clients. So say for instance, one of my clients already have, because she teaches the in a university, so she already have like, different things, or assets, content assets, that's what I call them, that she has gathered over the years in her teaching career. And so instead of us like thinking about, how can we create from scratch, we can repurpose the existing content that they already have and then curate them and then create a framework based on what they want to teach. And yeah, that's where I normally help them out with.
I know, I just wrote a book, and books are a big thing for people who are trying to brand and market their professional services. Can you repurpose content from a book and create
Yes.
an online course for that? And I'm going to plug myself in for just a second.
Yes.
There's my book. And so
Yeah.
would you be able to help me create content? Because repurpose,
Yep. Yeah, for
repurpose
sure.
walking the path.
Yeah, absolutely. Really depends on what your objective is in terms of creating an online course, because you can do it, a lot of different ways. So I had one client once. He has a book and he wants to transfer or convert that into an online course. It didn't push through because he had other priorities that he needed to take care of. But one of the ways that we can do is use the book like not really a lead magnet, but kind of like the lower ticket offer, and then the course is more of a more in-depth service or training for those who read the books. It's a supplemental resource.
Mm.
So the course then become a supplemental resource to the book, and it could be used as a bonus to the books. A lot of authors do that. So instead of just, because you know how you would promote your book, right? And instead of them just getting the book, when they purchase the book, they can have bonuses. And one of those bonuses could be a course that supplements the book.
Mhm.
Or you can sell it in the back end. So one of my clients, she has a book, and well, she's actually not my client, she's the wife of the client, but she has a book, and what she did was she created an online course, and it's a low ticket course, like 140 something course. But she funneled those who purchased the book, she funneled them into that online course because that's additional revenue.
And that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And so how how do people get in touch with you? How do they find you? I mean, are you marketing yourself to just a specific niche? Because you mentioned, you transitioned your niche from beginning entrepreneurs to more established. How do
Yeah.
people find you in order to scale through online?
Yeah, for sure. So best way would be through my website, which is www.hazeljune.com. So they're going to see a lot of different things in there. I will also be starting a YouTube channel soon. So that's in the pipeline. And then of course, social media. So I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. So it's at AM Hazeljune.
So what I'm going to do is put all of that content, contact information in the description.
Mhm.
So please share this with everybody and everyone in the world so that they know that you exist and why you exist and how you can help them scale their business. I so appreciate this conversation. Are there any last things that you want to tell somebody who's really thinking about creating an online course, but is thinking that's too much effort for me? What would you tell them?
Yeah,
30 seconds
absolutely.
or less.
Yes, so it doesn't have to be, you don't need to be tech savvy, it doesn't have to be overwhelming, because number one, well, you choose your struggle, right? You choose your poison, as they said. So either you do it on your own and figure things out on your own, or you buy a course that's going to walk you through how to create a course, or you get someone, a service provider kind of like me, who will do the course for you, so you don't have to be overwhelmed and think about all the nitty-gritty part of creating an online course.
Hazel, I'm really looking forward to see how you continue to scale and grow your own business. And
Thank
I
you.
appreciate this conversation so much. For those who are watching, thank you for joining us on another edition of Coach's Corner. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.